Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sober School, where you can always find experience, strength, and hope. My name is Drew, and I'm an alcoholic. We want to welcome you to this platform here today, regardless of what your addiction may be. You are welcome here. We support multiple pathways of recovery, not just one, but all pathways. And whichever pathway it is that you choose, well, we're here to help, and we definitely want to make sure that it works for you. Speaking of pathways, I want to pitch right in and continue the conversation from yesterday about what to do when AA doesn't seem to work. I gave the disclaimer yesterday. I want to be sure I give it today. For me, AA is the only thing that works, and God knows I tried everything under the sun to stop my drinking. No doubt about it. However, there was a period in my mind for years, really, when I didn't think AA was working. And I want to be very clear about that. Matter of fact, there was a period in my life where I remember thinking AA would never work. So I want to start all this with that disclaimer right there. I'm not here to sell you anything on AA. I'm not here to sell you on NA or any other pathway. What I am here to do is try to help keep you sober, get you sober and keep you sober. That's my only fucking goal. I promise you. So with all that being said, 10 years ago, whenever, to 2012, 13, somewhere in that ballpark, I walked in the rooms of AA, as I shared yesterday, and lo and behold, they're talking about this God thing. They're talking about getting a book, finding a sponsor, working the steps. And I wanted none of that. I didn't plan on leaving the ground floor. If I needed to leave the ground floor, I'd take the elevator, right? I had plenty of books already in my library, my personal library. I didn't need another book that was written all the way back in 1939. So I didn't need the book. And I sure as hell didn't need somebody looking over my shoulder telling me how to live my life, telling me I was doing something wrong or whatever. I had managed pretty well up to that point, so I didn't need somebody else telling me how to live my life, right? I'd managed so well by becoming an alcoholic. But that's beside the point. So when I came into the rooms of AA, no, man. And then they kept talking about this God thing, right? The God that they kept talking about, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, must be the same God from my childhood, and that God hated me. So, yeah, I was definitely screwed. And as I said yesterday, you know what? I went back out. I decided I'd always figured out things on my own, so I'll figure this out. And that didn't work out too well for me. Matter of fact, it damn near killed me, if I'm being honest. So fast forward 9 years, however long it was, July the 6th of 2021, I knew that I had to get sober. And as I said yesterday, one of the things I did when AA didn't work, in my mind, one of the things I did was I had a very simple goal whenever I woke up on July the 6th. Make it to the end of my day and lay my head down on my pillow, drawing a sober breath. That was it. That was my only goal. July the 6th, that worked. 2021, that worked. I still didn't want this AA stuff. I didn't want this, High School Musical, we're all in this together, Mahamba Jamba Kumbaya stuff. All right. I didn't want any of it because in my mind, it wasn't going to work. I'd already tried it. So one of the things I did was, like I said, I had a goal. Just make it to the end of my day, laying my head down on my pillow to go to sleep at night, drawing sober breath. That was goal number one. Another thing I would do is I would change my routines, my driving patterns. What I mean by that is if I had to run my kids somewhere and drop them off, I would make sure I would go out of my way to make sure I did not pass the liquor store, because that was always tempting to me. And I can't tell you the number of times I'd get sober for, a day or two, and then I'd drive past the liquor store. Oh, here we go. Slide in there, get some tobacco products, and happen to pick up a bottle of booze, right? So that was another thing I did, is I changed my driving routines, my driving patterns to avoid those liquor stores or places where I could buy whiskey. And then the third thing I did, and really the most critical thing, is while I knew AA was never going to work, at least in my head, I thought AA would never work. I knew I could still benefit. Though, from getting around a bunch of people who had already gone through what I was going through right then and there. So while I didn't subscribe to the AA doctrine, I did see benefit in the fact that I'm hanging out with people who had been sober 10, 12, 15, 30 years. They had gone through what I was going through. And so I would go to meetings and I would sit there and I would listen. And let me be clear about this too. I never walked into a meeting. They said, well, you got to sign your name up and you got to be a diehard member of AA and you got to pay your monthly dues and membership fees and all that bullshit. No. No one asked me if I was a member of AA. Matter of fact, I had to come to that own realization on my own eventually. But again, my first 25, 30 days in sobriety, I wasn't planning on being a member of AA. I wasn't planning on being an AA big book thumper. Again, nobody tried to sell me on anything. But in my own head, I have my daily goal of making it to the end of my day, drawing a sober breath. I've changed my daily routines of how to draw my driving patterns anyway, so I would avoid liquor stores. Why not hang out with people who had already figured out how to solve the problem that I'm facing right now? That made perfect sense to me. So, okay, fine. I don't have to go sign up a pledge card or anything like that. And so the first 25, 30 days-ish, I white-knuckled it. And I benefited a lot. This wasn't a religion that they were asking me to join, all right? There was no baptism of AA. So surely I could pick up something, and I did. Lo and behold, I did. The first 25, 30 days, I started picking up some hope that maybe I'm not damned for eternity, right? Maybe I can get sober and stay sober. Maybe so. So I want to encourage you today. If you're thinking AA doesn't work, those are some things you can do. You can, again, have a very simple-minded goal. No matter what else happens today, you're going to make it to your pillow tonight, drawing a sober breath. That's your only goal today, right? Just for today. And then when you succeed at that goal, you wake up and you start it over again the next day, over tomorrow. Don't worry about tomorrow right now. Worry about today. Worry about right now. So that's one thing you can do. You can change your driving habits. That was a very subtle thing for me to change, but had big impacts because I would avoid liquor stores where I'd go and buy my booze. And then I started hanging out with people who, while they may have been drinking their AA juice or AA Kool-Aid, which I wasn't going to drink, I was trying to stop drinking, remember? I could still hang out with them and find out, talk to them, get to know them, find out their stories and how they overcame their drinking problem. And I want to encourage you today, you could do those things too. Let me say this though, and I want to go back and reiterate something. I can't really tell you, if I'm being honest with you, I can't really sit here and tell you I know what it's like whenever AA doesn't work, because it finally did work, because I kept coming back. I kept coming back to the room. So all those things, those three things I just told you about, those 3 bullet points, if you will, I was able to, once I said, okay, let me give this AA thing a try, I was able to intertwine those 3 bullet points, changing my driving patterns, making it to the end of my day sober, and hanging out with people who knew how to stop drinking and stay stopped. I was able to intertwine those things with the principles I learned through the AA program. And that, to this day, is how I am able to stay sober. No matter what happens today, I don't have to drink over it, period. Some of my friends are going to love this. If a tree crashes through the corner of my house and tears up that part of my house, I don't have to drink over it today. I know there's some people who just switch the off button, and that's okay. So I don't have to drink anymore because I was able to take these things I practiced early in my sobriety, intertwine them with what I actually learned in AA, and now I'm sober. I am living happy, joyous, and free. When shit goes south in my day, okay, guess what? I don't have to drink over it anymore. But that first 25, 30 days, I wasn't practicing AA per se. I was showing up to the rooms so I could listen and get experience, so I could get other people's experiences, so I knew I might try to apply it in my life. But I will say this, by me keeping myself in the rooms, by coming back repeatedly every opportunity I had, I finally realized that I was headed down the same path that I'd been down before, trying to white knuckle it and do it all on my own. That didn't work for me. AA didn't work for me, but all of a sudden, when I realized that everything I tried before hadn't worked, why not read the book? Why not find a sponsor? Why not work the steps? So again, I'm not here to sell you on anything. That's up to you. You have to make that decision on what gets you sober and keeps you sober. I'm just here to help. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Hope you guys have a kick-ass day. We will be talking again tomorrow. Again, thank you guys for letting me have 5 to 10 minutes of your day and coming in and sharing with you guys. This keeps me sober. I promise you, it keeps me sober. In the meantime, guys, if you have a topic you'd like to hear discussed, drop it down in the comments section. We'll take a look at see what we can do. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.